is really our GM. He doesn't get enough credit when he makes moves like this. Acquiring Za'Darius Smith from the Browns, only for two, we only had to give up two picks. One was a 2025 fifth round pick and a 2026 sixth round pick. I mean, I think it's a good move, man, and it's exactly the move I expected him to make. But before we get into that, man, Lions Packers reaction. We beat the Packers 24 to 14 in Lambeau Field. Jared Goff had a good game. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs over 100 yards. You know what they do. Amon-Ra walked away with a touchdown. Sixth straight game with a touchdown ties the franchise record, man. What's been your biggest takeaway from the Lions in these past few days?
And resiliency, and what I loved the most, honestly, from that last game was actually seeing the post game locker room. You know,
Mhm.
now I
Mm,
really thought about it.
mm.
Just hearing how the guys were talking and how guys were speaking, just
Yeah.
about how they view the team and how they view
Yeah, yeah,
what's
yeah.
going on. Montgomery getting one of the game balls and saying, like, hey, like, I'm just happy to be doing it with y'all, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, come on, let's go all the way, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
man, and Dan Campbell makes me want to play on the line.
No, for
you
sure.
know, like,
Yeah.
hey,
And you can see
it's
they
it's
have a
it's
really
crazy.
they have really good camaraderie. I was watching the Amon Ra podcast and he was talking about after Brian Branch got ejected. You know what I'm saying? He was talking about the whole team on the sideline. When Branch flicked off the Packers fans, he's like our whole
Yeah,
sideline just went crazy. You know what I'm saying? He was like somebody whispered in my ear. He said Brian Branch about to crash out. Yeah, so but you can see that sort of energy as they all rally for one another. You know what I'm saying? They all
yeah,
rally for one another. What were you
yeah.
saying about Dan Campbell though?
No, he's just a great motivator. You know what I'm saying? Just a great
Yeah,
motivator. But and man, Branch doing that and like, bro, it was just one of those games, man. Because the pack, bro, like I can't like everything I watched leading up to this game, I
yeah,
was posting on Instagram,
yeah,
live throughout the game.
yeah,
Check out the IG. It's UW Media. I was
yeah,
live throughout the game, bro. Like, and I'm just pointing out, like, all I heard all week was how the
yeah,
Packers, we're gonna set us, the Lions, straight. You
yeah,
know, everybody really thought the Pack. They really
yeah,
people was really thinking the Packers was gonna. Oh, did you see what the Packers did to them last year? Y'all only bring up the second game, not the first one, because you lost that.
yeah, yeah,
Because you didn't beat
yeah.
us twice last year. But
Facts.
you bring up that last game and like what I'm saying. So just leading up to that, and then for y'all to put out what y'all put out, awful showing, right? So it wasn't
Yeah,
even a close game where you can have hope for the next one. Now the next one might be close, but you're still gonna lose.
for
That's
sure.
what this looks like. You know what I mean? That's what that
Yeah,
looks like. It looks like if we were in a dome, you would have got blown out 45-20.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
like, come on, like we handled you in your stadium in your storm.
yeah. And that was
Like that's
that
that's
was
that's
my biggest
insane.
that was my biggest takeaway. It was the weather. Everybody wanted to know, and everybody thought the Packers would handle us, to your point, because of the weather. They knew the weather would suck, and they figured the Lions being a dome team, and this is our first outdoor game too, by the way, all season. They figured Jared Goff, his completion percentage is going to drop. Our team's numbers will drop, and it should be a win for the Packers. Jared Goff went 18 for 22 in this game. He didn't miss a beat. Didn't miss a beat. He threw a toe tap to Amon-Ra on a fourth down conversion. You know what I mean? To start the drive. Like just showing
Yeah,
everybody that, there is more levels to his game. And I heard somebody compare
bro. That
Jared
that
Goff.
was beautiful.
I heard somebody
That was
compare
beautiful.
Jared Goff and Dan Campbell, this Lions team, to the Belichick Brady Patriots team, where they don't have a reason to win the game, but when these games come up where the weather's bad, they just come in there and they dominate. You know why? Because they don't make
Yeah,
turnovers, they don't have crazy mistakes, as you saw Jordan Love do. Why are you throwing it on was it second and one, third and one, whatever, 30 seconds left to go in a half? Kirby Joseph leads to a Kirby Joseph pick six. Do you know those
yeah.
those sort of mistakes you see other guys make? You were
He
saying?
tried to Mahomes flea flicker that. He tried to Mahomes flea flicker that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like,
It wasn't happening.
but to your point though, you've said this before, when you're compared to a guy like Brett Favre, you're compared for the good and the bad. It's not just the
Yeah,
arm talent, it's also the risky passes. But he's that whole
yeah.
Packers team. And also too, this being the midway point of the season, that is as the contenders start to separate from the pack, you can really see, no pun intended, you can really see the youngness of the Packers. They're a young, talented team. Detroit comes in there, plays like grown men, handles business, walks out of there
With
with it. To be
Detroit,
honest, as adults, knowing what to get friends and loved ones for birthdays, holidays, and special occasions can be a hassle. Sometimes giving just a card and cash can come across as lazy. LewieCards remove that stigma and takes the hassle of gift giving right off your hands, allowing your gift to be the card. With different options and your ability to customize the card to your liking, you can now give someone a unique card, a premium card, the one and only card that is in and of itself the gift that keeps on giving, a gift that combines cash and a card. Louis Cards, the premier card of gift giving. Get yours today at louiscards.com. But yeah, man, so the Lions acquires Za'Darius Smith from the Browns in a 2026 seventh round pick in exchange for a 2025 fifth round pick and a 2026 sixth round pick. Now, the funny part about this is I actually wanted to get into the Detroit defense because we touched this way earlier in the season. We said they're underrated. We said they're not playing up to their potential. I just want to read off some stats because as up until this Packers game takes place, Za'Darius Smith was not on the team. So let's look at how good Detroit's defense actually has been. Ranked fifth in scoring defense in the entire league, allowing 18.5 points per game. Third down defense, they're ranked number one. They're ranked second in the NFL in takeaways with 15 takeaways. Interception, they're ranked second in the NFL as well. Brian Branch and Kerby Joseph are the highest DB interception duo in the league. And the Lions defensive line is ranked fourth in the NFL. So pre Za'Darius Smith even coming to our team, we're a top ranked defense, which is something we talked about, I believe, one or two games back and saying, hey, this Detroit's defense is highly underrated. They're holding teams to 20 points and under. That's pre Za'Darius Smith, and that's post Aiden's injury.
I told you, Manny. Now we walking into this. I just want to say I called it. I didn't know a name. I
Yeah,
said it won't be Max Crosby. That's like okay, fairy tale, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
I was like, I need a guy that knows it. You know what I
Mm,
mean? That
mm,
knows it. I right.
yeah,
I want him to. I don't want him to come in and get a bunch of sacks. Hey, come in, keep the pressure good, all that good stuff. Get the sacks when you can. But when it
yeah.
comes to the playoffs, look like that Pro Bowl. Look, you know what I'm saying? I said we would know him. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, the
you
interesting
know,
part
I said
about,
like a Leonard Floyd type. You know,
yeah,
Za'Darius Smith.
yeah, for
So as long
sure.
as he's healthy, you know, that's why I said we got a good rotation down there. I think that was a big move, and
It
I
was a
trust the
great
GM.
move.
I trust the GM that I think it's an A+ move if he thought it was because he probably could have went for anybody he wanted to. We
Well,
have money, we have picks, you know.
yeah.
He probably could have went for anybody he wanted to. The fact that he got Smith, I trust that. I knew it would be somebody with a name that we know and we can, you know, we can really look to as like, hey, he's been productive, you
Well, it's like
know.
you can't give up too you can get who you want to get, but the price is too high. And to your point, that was my biggest concern about the move. It was like, are you gonna give up the house to get somebody to go for it all this year, which I think would have been a bad move because it wouldn't have been necessary. But to your point, and this is why we continue to trust Brad Holmes as a GM, man. He continues to make moves like this. Whereas like all we gave up was a 2025 fifth round pick and a
Yeah.
2026 sixth round pick. And we got an NFL veteran who's recorded double digit sacks twice in his career. Mind you, this isn't his first time with the NFC North either. He's been on the Packers and he's been on the Vikings. So he understands how the NFC North operates and different
Yeah.
systems within the NFC North. Not to
And you
mention
see what
this
we're paying
season.
him?
And this season, he's having one of his best seasons. He's having five. He's already recorded 5 sacks. He's got 23 tackles. Now, the only thing my and this is why I think again it was a good move. But he's behind Myles Garrett having the season that he was having. Now coming to Detroit, he's gonna be a target for these other teams. I don't know if he'll have the same level of production. However, though, I believe it's not. I don't believe this move was about trying to replace Aiden Hutchinson. It's just cause more havoc up front. If you get a sack,
Yeah.
great. But what's better than a sack? A QB pressure. Not better than a sack, but what's next best to a sack? QB pressure. Why? Because we got the best DB interception duo in the league. It's not about can will the quarterback release the ball. I don't think anybody in Detroit at this point is worried about if the quarterback will release the ball or not. Not with the guys, the dogs as you call them, that we got in the backfield. You know, our running defense never took a hit after Aiden Hutchinson left out with the injury. So now it's just a matter of can you cause havoc up front? And I believe he 100% can. I think Cleveland, obviously, that's very close to Michigan. So in terms of style of play, grittiness, I think he has all that, ruggedness, roughness. I think he'll fit in because that was also my concern. Where you get somebody that can fit in to our culture, you know,
Yeah. 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 No. Hey, I think it was the perfect grab.